Good morning, Oklahoma. Welcome back to Cow-Calf Corner. This week we're going to be talking to Dr. David Lalman about creep feeding. And Dave, to begin, what is creep feeding?
It can be a range of things, but I would define it as just providing supplemental nutrients to a calf that's still nursing its mother.
What are our pros and cons, Dave?
Most people are going to we could be talking about in terms of creep feeding, you could creep graze, and so if you got a high quality forage, create a creep gate where those calves can go out and consume the higher quality forage, where the cows maybe have restricted access to that. But most people are going to be talking about some sort of a concentrate feed supplement. Probably the big con, especially now, is the cost. Probably the best way for people to calculate their cost of gain in a creep feeding program is through feed conversion. You need to have a good idea of how much feed it takes to get an extra pound of calf weight gain, whether you're talking about a seed stock operation or a commercial operation. And so just to give you an idea of how to do that and what that range would be, it can be anywhere from 5 pounds of feed to get an extra pound of gain, and there's published data with 15 pounds of feed to get an extra pound of weight gain. So a wide range. The better quality forage you have, the poorer the feed conversion is going to be. So that would be a negative in a case like this. A drawback to creep feeding program is going to cost more per pound of extra weight gain because you're just replacing forage.
What should we expect as far as intake on a 300-pound calf?
So if it's just ad lib creep feed, meaning you're just putting it in a self feeder and letting them have at it, and there's no salt or a additive like rumensin to restrict or limit their feed intake. Ad lib, calves are going to start out, the first couple of weeks they're not going to eat much, or some will start really quick, and then a few of the more timid calves may learn to gradually consume feed, maybe a week to 10 days behind those more aggressive calves. 2 or 3 pounds early, up to about a month on a 300 calf that's rapidly approaching 400 pounds. They're going to get up to 4 to 5 pounds within 2 months, even 90 days. And on an ad lib program and getting close to 500 pounds by that time, they're going to be up to around 6-7 pounds. We've seen calves consume up to 8 pounds a day.
We know obviously there's a lot of products on the market, but if somebody had a custom feed mill that could make a ration for them, ballpark us on some crude protein and maybe energy parameters you'd suggest in a creep feed.
So most of the commercial creeps are going to be 14. You might find a few 12s, but really a 14% creep feed is a 16% creep feed on a dry matter basis. And that fits pretty well. A 300, 400, 500 pound calf that needs to gain 2.5 or 3 pounds a day, a 16% diet is pretty close to their protein requirements if they're gaining 3 pounds a day. Now that assumes you're not getting a whole lot from the forage. They are still getting something from mother's milk. But generally, by the time their feed intake goes up, folks don't start creep feeding until, let's say, mid-lactation or somewhere in that neighborhood. By the time those calves are getting that big, 400 pounds plus, they're into late lactation. And so mother's really not producing all that much milk. She might be down below 10 pounds of milk a day, and whereas she might have started out at 25 or 30.
Interesting stuff. And Dave, we appreciate you joining us this week.
Absolutely. You bet. Thank you.
Appreciate you all joining us, and we'll see you next week on Cow-Calf Corner on Sunup.